Hi all! I hope you had a great holiday break and are feeling excited about classes starting soon. Every year at this time, there are two common questions that I hear from volunteers, and we're going to talk about those questions today. The first question is, how can I integrate new students into my class with returning students? It's so important to start the session with building class community. And we know that a strong sense of safety and community helps set all students up for success. So we want to get old students and new students sharing about themselves and their lives as soon as possible. So one very easy way to do this is to use name tents, the folded pieces of paper, at least during the first few weeks, if not for the whole session. You can also do sticky name tags just to bump it up a little bit for the first couple weeks. I recommend checking out my first few weeks lesson plans. I send these out before every session, but they're also linked in this newsletter. And these are particularly helpful because the community building is built in. So every activity has some element of getting students connected with each other. If you've used these lesson plans for multiple sessions and you're sick of them, feel free to plug in a different icebreaker or different communication activity. The important thing is that we get students sharing about themselves. And if you notice in my lesson plans, even beginners can do this if we build in the appropriate baby steps. It's also good to ask your class to generate their expectations of each other so that they're creating the class culture rather than us imposing the class rules. This is also built into the lesson plans, but I have linked a template to just this activity, this expectation generating activity. I've linked that below here. Another thing that's really important is to reteach the class routines. This is going to help the returning students remember the routines, and it's going to help the new students feel like they know what's going on. It's going to help them learn the flow of the class. And of course, building in lots and lots of pair and small group work into your lesson plans. These opportunities for collaboration not only increase student talking time, but they are also very important opportunities for students to build connections with each other. The second question is, what if my class votes for the same topics again? Oh my gosh, they voted for health again. We just did health. What am I going to do? Well, this is great because this means that your students are reflecting on their understanding and they know what they want and need more practice with. So this is great. What does this mean for you? Well, first of all, of course, I recommend digging into the Minnesota Literacy Council lesson plans if you haven't already. They're available online. I'm linking them in the newsletter, and you can check out the physical copies from the library. But if you've already used those and your students have already experienced all of those activities, you can take those lesson plans, but use other resources to plug in other activities with the same content, the same vocabulary. So of course, we love Zero Prep. Zero Prep is so great because you choose by the type of activity. So there's a chapter about speaking, there's a chapter about reading, there's a chapter about writing, and all of the activities practice those skills. You can plug in the content. Very helpful. We also have this one, which is very similar, and then Out and About is also quite similar. So you can continue to tweak those lesson plans, but still use those lesson plans to help provide the skeleton of your flow. And of course, you can always get in touch with me for ideas. Please don't spend so much time lesson planning that you start to feel burned out. I am here, and I love talking about lesson planning. Speaking of resources, we have some exciting updates to share. All of these resources are linked in this newsletter. So just scroll down in the newsletter, you can find the links. Okay, so the first week lesson plans that I mentioned earlier are now available in low beginning, high beginning, and intermediate or advanced. So you can use these lesson plans to save yourself the jitters and uncertainty that can come with the first few weeks of class. And of course, all of that good stuff that we talked about before, that community building, is built in. We have new and improved topic voting images. We got feedback that the topic voting images didn't quite match the Minnesota Literacy Council units. So now not only do they match, but they come with a lesson plan, and they're labeled on the back so that you can tell which level they're appropriate for. Very nice. The image bank, which exists on the teacher resource page, again, it's linked in the newsletter. Diane Boyer, ELAA Volunteer Extraordinaire, has continued to refine the image bank, making sure that images are really high quality. So things are looking very well organized and very beautiful in there. And thanks to ELAA Volunteer Carrie Driscoll, also ELAA Volunteer Extraordinaire, there is now a folder of funny and engaging images that you can use for conversation prompts or writing prompts. So check those out. They're really funny and fun. Big thanks to Diane and Carrie for this work. Of course, you know that we have the fabulous activity kits from the Minnesota Literacy Council. We are working on making more of the most popular ones. And these are, again, great to just integrate into your lesson plans when you want more practice on a particular skill. So this one, for example, is about phonics and phonemic awareness. It includes, sorry, that was my chair, all of the materials that you need to go with these activities. These are not full lesson plans, they're just activities that you can integrate into your lesson plans. Always great, working on more of those. And then finally, of course, one more plug for the Minnesota Literacy Council lesson plans. See, I got really excited about them, Minnesota lesson plans. We have heard from many of you that these are your favorite resources. And why are they so great? Because they're divided into topics that are really useful for our students in their daily lives. They integrate everything, speaking, listening, reading, writing, pronunciation, grammar, so that you're not having to come up with all of those activities on your own. And they prioritize real communication. Plus, they have all of the worksheets, all of the materials that you need for the lesson plan are right here. So if you've been lesson planning without this resource, give it a chance this year and see how much time and energy it saves you. I wish you the very best of luck with starting the new session, and I hope that you have a ton of fun with your students. As always, don't hesitate to give me a call or send me an email if you have questions or if you're starting to feel overwhelmed, or if you just want to say hi or tell me a fun story, whatever. Don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great month, and I hope that I will see you soon.